I was just alone with this child, newly pregnant, and the child knew I was pregnant. So I had to tread a very fine line there. And I asked him to get down from the table. At first he didn't, so I called for additionals on my radio and I just said, I need staff. So he gets down from the table, and in the meantime, I'm trying to get myself into the nurse's office. So I have to pass where he's standing at that moment. I pass by him and he knees me as hard as he can in the abdomen. From there, I was again not allowed to go out to seek medical attention. Everybody there knew I was pregnant. It had been a 6-month IVF journey that was well known amongst all of my peers and management, and they did not send me out for evaluation. I was told that they couldn't replace me and that I needed to stay for the rest of my shift, so that's what I did. And I worked Saturday, I worked Sunday. I knew something wasn't right, but I hadn't started miscarrying yet, so I continued to go to work. And then on Monday, after work, I went to the university to have additional labs drawn, and they called me before I even made it back to the Cedar Rapids area that I was miscarrying our son Levi. So at that time, I reached out to management, in which minimal was said to me. The one response I did get that week was to remind me that I picked up voluntary overtime for Sunday, and they expected me to be at work that week.
The last time I was working on the men's unit, and a patient that I had good rapport with came up to me with a towel in his hand and said that he had emesis of feces. And I looked up and he sucker punched me in my face and knocking my glasses off to the point where I couldn't see. I stepped backwards and he punched me again towards my ear. And I never returned back to MHI after that.
Good. I was out in this dining area with this patient, and then there was another particular female, 17-year-old female, that was sitting there that didn't belong there. She wasn't supposed to be in this area. They have assigned areas. And I just politely asked her to leave because she was being disruptive and starting to escalate the one-to-one that I was with. When then she abruptly got up and she came over to me, which I had no exit. I had nowhere to go because I had remained with this one-to-one. I was up against the window. And she punched me in the forehead, and then she took my hair and she ripped it out. She threw me to the floor. I landed on my left side. And then she foot stomped my head and neck multiple times. And I laid there in the fetal position until I was rescued. So ultimately, I ended up with a spinal cord injury, which resulted in a fusion to my neck, and PTSD and neck issues. So
I just wish I could get that 5 minutes back to make a different decision. And I honestly wish I would have just left when I knew things were not safe. And I didn't. I stayed because you become attached to these children that don't have parents, that don't have structure. In the moment one of them looks up at you and says, you know, I love you more than my mom and dad, it changes you. And that's what keeps you going every day. That's what wakes me up in the morning to go to work and leave my own children and husband. And that